cold air at noon, and one small candle keeps on burning where no flame should find a room. I was foreman for the silver, kept the payroll, kept the key. When the timbers started crying, I told the boys it's safe with me. 12 men went down singing with their lunch pails in their hands. I heard the mountains split above them and signed papers for their land. There's a candle in the silver mine, burning where the dead men sleep. It don't need oil, it don't need air, it just waits for debts to speak. If you hear a pickaxe knocking from the dark below the pines, say your last prayer quiet by the candle in the silver mine. Their wives came wearing flower dust dresses, children holding empty tins. I said the earth took honest workers while I sold their claims again. One boy handed me his father's watch, said, "Sir, he'll want this back." I kept it in my vest for years, but it never did keep track. There's a candle in the silver mine, burning where the dead men sleep. It don't need oil, it don't need air, it just waits for debts to speak. If you hear a pickaxe knocking from the dark below the pines, say your last prayer quiet by the candle in the silver mine. Last night that watch struck midnight with no hands upon its face. In my bedroom filled with coal dust and a hymn from underground grace, I saw 12 lamps come rising one by one along the wall, and the boy's small voice behind me said, "Foreman, Pa heard you call." There's a candle in the silver mine, and tonight it burns for me. No gold can close a mountain, no lie can turn the key. If they find my vest at sunrise near the shaft with no decline, tell the widows I went walking to the candle in the silver mine. They searched till Sunday morning, found no boot print, bone or sign, just a dead watch softly ticking by the candle in the silver mine. There's a cabin down by Crow Creek where the cottonwoods lean low. No smoke comes from the chimney, but the lamp still starts to glow. I found her rocking by the window, all dressed in Sunday black. A wedding ring hung on a nail and a shotgun by the sack. She said, "You look just like my husband, except his eyes were not so tired." Then she smiled without a mercy, and the whole dark room caught fire. Don't drink from Crow Creek water, don't sleep beneath that tree. There's a widow in the moonlight calling strangers, "Come to me." She don't ask for silver, she don't beg a man to stay. She just counts the boots by morning of the ones who rode away. Her man had left for Santa Fe with the preacher's stolen gold, came back wrapped in a saddle blanket, pale and 6 days cold. She buried him behind the stable, but his lies would not lie still. Now every drifter with his jawline pays the debt upon that hill. Don't drink from Crow Creek water, don't sleep beneath that tree. There's a widow in the moonlight calling strangers, "Come to me." She don't ask for silver, she don't beg a man to stay. She just counts the boots by morning of the ones who rode away. At midnight I heard hoofbeats underneath the cabin floor, a dead man laughing softly from the grave behind the door. She handed me his wedding coat, still carrying the rain, said, "Put this on, my darling, I have missed your guilty name." Don't drink from Crow Creek water, don't sleep beneath that tree. There's a widow in the moonlight, and she's saving room for 3. The creek runs black by sunrise, the wind won't tell the tale, but a new coat hangs beside the ring, and my horse came back with no saddle. There's a cabin down by Crow Creek where the cottonwoods lean low. No smoke comes from the chimney, but the lamp still starts to glow. Tracks run west of Hollow Mesa, no station lights the plain, but every year on All Souls Evening you can hear a midnight train. I was hired to guard a strong box full of silver, deeds, and gold. The banker said no man will know it, but greed don't do what it is told. 5 riders came with flour sack faces, I knew each voice by name. I kept my rifle pointed downward while the passengers screamed in flame. Lord, don't stop that train for me. Let it thunder past the storm. There's a ticket in my pocket for a seat I don't want owned. If the whistle whistle starts a-wailing where no iron rails remain, you best pray you ain't been summoned by the train beneath the mesa. A mother held her baby crying, a preacher clutched his book. I saw the fire take the curtains, and I still turned back to look. They gave me half the stolen silver, wrapped in canvas stained with smoke. I bought a ranch near San Lorenzo, but no seed I planted woke. Lord, don't stop that train for me. Let it thunder past the stone. There's a ticket in my pocket for a seat I don't want owned. If the whistle starts a-wailing where no iron rails remain, you best pray you ain't been summoned by the train beneath the mesa. Now the cattle won't cross water, and the well gives only rust. My wife hears wheels at supper, dragging sparks across the dust. Last night I found a burned out lantern swinging cold above my gate, and a child's small handprint in the ashes on the silver dinner plate. Lord, don't stop that train for me, but it's slowing by the stone. There's a conductor with no eyelids calling, passenger, come home. I can smell the smoke of judgment, I can hear the couplings chain. Tonight I pay the fare forever on the train beneath the mesa. At dawn they found my ranch house empty, all the silver turned to black, and out past Hollow Mesa there were fresh rails in the sand. Chapel west of Dry Cross, where the roof lets in the sand, there's a Bible on the pulpit with a bullet through its hand. I was preacher to the guilty, kept their secrets, took their bread. Men would kneel with dust on their boots, leave with lighter hearts instead. Then my own son came at midnight, with his shirt all dark and torn. Said, "Pa, I left a man not breathing by the fence line in the storm." Turn the page, turn it slow, there are things the Lord will know. You can hide a body under stone, you can wash a knife in snow, but the word don't die from silence, and the grave don't keep control. There's a Bible with a bullet hole reading judgment to my soul. I took his pistol from the table, wrapped the barrel in my coat, buried truth beneath the floorboards where I preached on saving hope. They blamed a drifter out of Laredo with a scar beneath one eye. He said, "Preacher, tell them different," but I let the poor man die. Turn the page, turn it slow. There are things the Lord will know. You can hide a body under stone, you can wash a knife in snow, but the word don't die from silence, and the grave don't keep control. There's a Bible with a bullet hole, reading judgment to my soul. Last night the chapel filled with hoof dust, though the door stayed nailed and tight. That drifter stood beside the altar with no shadow in the light. He didn't curse me, didn't touch me, only pointed to the floor. And the Bible split wide open to the sin I paid for. Turn the page, turn it slow. Let the desert witness know I love my blood more than mercy. Now mercy won't let go. If they find me by the pulpit with my son's name carved in coal, leave that Bible with a bullet hole, reading judgment to my soul. At dawn the chapel doors swung open, and the floorboards all lay bare. No preacher, son, or drifter, just one spent shell on the chair. Tree Hollow had no dance hall, just a stump beneath the pine. But a fiddle played there nightly with no hand upon the line. I was fiddler for the cattlemen, played waltzes, reels, and lies. When they dragged young Eli from his cabin, I kept in their eyes. His wife stood barefoot in the doorway, holding flower on her sleeve. She said, "Mister, stop that playing." I played louder not to grieve. Play, fiddle, play, where the black pine leans away. Every bow stroke cuts the silence of the truth I would not say. If you hear that tune at sundown, don't you follow, don't you stay. There's a song in Hang Tree Hollow that the guilty have to pay. Eli never stole their horses, never branded any hide. He only knew which rich man's cattle crossed the creek on the wrong side. They paid me with a silver buckle and a bottle wrapped in twine. By morning he was just a warning, and that buckle still was mine. Play, fiddle, play, where the black pine leans away. Every bow stroke cuts the silence of the truth I would not say. If you hear that tune at sundown, don't you follow, don't you stay. There's a song in Hangtree Hollow that the guilty have to pay. Last night the fiddle found me in a drawer beneath my bed. Its strings were black as horsehair, and its wooden throat was red. Then Eli's wife came humming with flour still on her sleeve. Said, play the tune you played that night, but this time make it grieve. Play, fiddle, play, let the crooked cattle stray. Let the rich men hear the rope creak, in that they made pay. If they find my buckle buried where the pine roots split the clay, tell them I went dancing with the dead I played away. Hangtree Hollow has no dance hall, just a stump beneath the pine. But the fiddle plays there nightly, and the last note sounds like mine. Judas Forge stood by the wash road where the coal smoke kissed the moon, and one bent horseshoe on the anvil rang each night at 2:30. I was blacksmith for the county, hammer, tongs, and leather hand. I could tell a man by hoof prints better than his wedding band. And two riders came at sundown with a sack of stolen pay. Said, turn our tracks around, old man, and we'll make your trouble gray. Hammer low, Judas Forge, let the iron tell the tale. Every nail I drove for silver put an innocent man in jail. When the horseshoe rings at midnight and the coals burn white and cold, there's a hoof print in the ashes where the truth comes back for gold. I shod their horses backward, made the trail lie through the clay. The posse followed crooked marks and dragged young Willard Gray. His wife came to my doorway with his supper in a pail. Said he was mending fence till moonrise. I kept hammering the nail. Hammer low, Judas Forge, let the iron tell the tale. Every nail I drove for silver put an innocent man in jail. When the horseshoe rings at midnight and the coals burn white and cold, there's a hoof print in the ashes where the truth comes back for gold. Last night the bellows breathed alone, though no hand pulled the chain. The gray horse stood inside the fire with no bridle and no mane. And Willard's voice came through the smoke, soft as rain on rust. Turn the shoe the right way, blacksmith, or where you lie through dust. Hammer low, Judas Forge, now the iron knows my name. No crooked track stays hidden when the dead walk through the flame. If they find my apron hanging where the coal and cinders rolled, say the hoofprints all turned forward when the truth came back for gold. Judas Forge stands cold by morning, but folks still hear it soon. One bent horseshoe on the anvil, ringing out at 2:30. Widow's Teeth was a canyon pass where the wind cut bone from breath, and a rope bridge crossed the darkness like a bargain made with death. I kept the bridge for travelers, took their coins and tied the line. Knew every knot by finger, knew which planks were split with time. Then the silver men from Denver put a purse beneath my door, said cut one rope at moonrise and asked no questions more. Swing low, rope bridge over black and hollow ground. Every knot I loosened keeps on tightening me down. If you hear the canyon praying where no living voice should be, don't cross at Widow's Teeth, boys, don't cross behind me. The wagon came near midnight with two lamps fighting dust. A woman held a cradle tight, her husband held his trust. I saw the baby's blanket caught beneath the lantern glow. Then I turned my face to heaven and let the left rope go. Swing low, rope bridge over black and hollow ground. Every knot I loosened keeps on tightening me down. If you hear the canyon praying when no living voice should be, don't cross at Widow's Teeth, boys, don't cross behind me. Last night my hands went numb and twisted like old hemp in the rain. I woke up on that canyon edge with a cradle calling my name. The bridge was whole and waiting, though it burned down years ago. And on each plank a small wet footprint showed me where to go. Swing low, rope bridge, let the guilty cross alone. No purse can pay the fallen, no grave can hide the stone. If they find my coat at sunrise hanging where the rope should be, tell the canyon kept its bargain and the bridge crossed over me. Widow's Teeth was a canyon pass where the wind still cuts the plain, and a cradle song at moonrise swings softly in the rain. Narrow wells stood south of nowhere, ringed with stones and sinners' dust. Folks said water slept beneath it, but no living rope could trust. I rode in with a brass divining rod and a smile I'd learned to sell. The town of children licking rain barrels, praying hard beside that well. A mining man from Tucson put 5 eagles in my hand, said, "Tell them there is nothing here, then bring me deed and land. Don't draw from Marrowell, don't lower down that chain. There are empty cups at midnight calling every liar's name. If you steal a thirsty promise, if you sell a prayer for gold, Marrowell remembers what the desert never told." Old Miss Ruth gave me coffee in a cup with flowers blue, said, "My grandson sees the water, sir, but he's only turning 2. I looked down at that sleeping child, then looked away too fast. By dawn I swore the ground was dead and watched their wagons pass. Don't draw from Marrowell, don't lower down that chain. There are empty cups at midnight calling every liar's name. If you steal a thirsty promise, if you sell a prayer for gold, Marrowell remembers what the desert never told." Years went by like buzzard wings, my teeth turned black with blame. Then one dry night my canteen rang like glass inside a flame. I heard small cups on wooden tables, heard a grandmother cry low, and from the well came children singing, "Tell us where the water goes." Don't draw from Marrowell, don't lower down that chain. There are empty cups at midnight, and tonight they call my name. I spent the golden fever, I wore the lilac wool. Now Marrowell is rising and my mouth is full of cool. At sunrise they found my brass rod, bent around the stones, and deep below that old dry well, water laughed against my bones. Devil's Gate, the fences lean like old men full of blame, and a branding iron in the ashes still glows without a flame. I rode for Colonel Maddox, kept his cattle, kept his lies, changed the marks on stolen heifers under blood-red morning skies. A widow's herd went missing when the winter killed her grain. I burned our sign across her future and rode off before the rain. Burn, burn black iron, right what men deny. Smoke don't rise to heaven when it knows the reason why. If you steal another's bread and call the hunger fate, you'll wear the last brand burning down at Devil's Gate. Her little boy came barefoot with a rope around his hand, said, "Mister, have you seen our cattle? Mama can't keep this land." I gave him half a nickel and a lie wrapped up in dust. That night his empty supper plate turned red along the crust. Burn, burn black iron, right what men deny. Smoke don't rise to heaven when it knows the reason why. If you steal another's bread and call the hunger fate, you'll wear the last brand burning down at Devil's Gate. Last moon I found that branding iron buried cold beneath my bed. It hissed my name against the floorboards like a coal that wasn't dead. Then I saw her herd go passing through the wall and through the rain. Every steer had hollow eyes and every horn wore flame. Burn, burn black iron, press me clean and deep. Some men sell the hungry, then go praying in their sleep. No grave can hide a hand that took more than it ate. I'll bear the last brand burning down at Devil's Gate. At dawn they found the pasture still, no hoof print, hide or bone, just one black mark on the gatepost, in my saddle smoking alone. Salt River ain't held water since the winter '82, but a boat still scrapes the sand there when the moon burns pale and blue. marshal down in dry mercy, with a badge as cold as tin. I sold safe passage through the canyon to the men I should have pinned. I took coins from trembling fingers, watched their wagons cross the white. Then I told the raiders where to find them before they made the ridge by night. Pay the ferryman, pay him slow. Lay your silver in the sand below. The river's dry, but the dead still roll where the salt wind calls your name. No prayer gets over, no horse gets through. When the boatman turns his eyes on you, pay the ferryman, pay him true, or ride back wearing shame. There's one small boy from Carson with a red scarf at his throat. He asked me if the stars could hear him when his mother missed the road. I still see that scarf at sundown, caught on every cactus spine. And every coin I ever pocketed turns to salt inside my wine. Pay the ferryman, pay him slow. Lay your silver in the sand below. The river's dry, but the dead still roll where the salt wind calls your name. No prayer gets over, no horse gets through. When the boatman turns his eyes on you, pay the ferryman, pay him true, or ride back wearing shame. Last night my badge cracked open like an egg beneath my hand. Inside was that red scarf folded with a child's name written in sand. And I heard oars in the darkness, though no water kissed the shore. And the ferryman raised one finger like it counted me before. Pay the ferryman, pay him slow. Lay your silver in the sand below. The river's dry, but the dead still roll, and tonight they roll for me. No badge can bargain, no lie can stand. When the boatman reaches from the sand, pay the ferryman, pay him true, then sink where no one sees. At dawn they found my holster and my badge gone dull with brine. Salt River ain't held water, but the sand was wet enough